Welcome to Monday Church History with Canon Dr. Adebayo Omotori Ogun, where you will learn, unlearn and relearn.
What happens when the gospel enters a town where fear, opposition, and ancient traditions seem impossible to overcome? What happens when two church buildings are destroyed by fire, yet the believers refuse to abandon their faith? Today, we travel back more than a century to discover how a small fellowship meeting in a private home became one of the most influential Anglican churches in Osogbo, the Cathedral Church of All Saints, Balogun Agoro. This is a story of courage, sacrifice, perseverance, and the unstoppable power of the gospel. During the late 19th century, Christianity was steadily spreading across Yoruba land through the work of the Church Missionary Society. While towns such as Abeokuta, Lagos, and Ibadan were becoming established centers of Christian witness, Osogbo remained largely devoted to traditional religion. The town was famous for its deep cultural heritage and traditional beliefs. Humanly speaking, it seems an unlikely place for the gospel to flourish. Yet, God had already prepared a place for Osogbo. The first known Anglican missionary effort in Osogbo dates back to around 1870, when Reverend Green visited the town during missionary journeys from Ibadan. Although his visit planted the first seeds of the gospel, no permanent church was established at that time. Nevertheless, the message of Christ had entered Osogbo, and those early efforts would prepare the way for greater things to come. For many years after Reverend Green's visit, missionary work continued gradually through the efforts of Church Missionary Society workers and African evangelists. Among those who helped prepare the way was Reverend T. Adin, whose ministry strengthened the growing Christian witness in the area. Though progress appeared slow, God was quietly preparing hearts for a breakthrough. In the year 1900, everything changed. A Scottish missionary named Reverend John Mackay arrived in Osogbo, not only as a preacher of the gospel, but also as a skilled carpenter whose hands will help build both churches and communities. Reverend Mackay possessed remarkable courage, practical wisdom, and unwavering faith. He believed that no town was beyond the reach of God's grace. Soon after his arrival, Reverend Mackay sought permission to preach from the Ataoja of Osogbo. Standing before the Ataoja, surrounded by chiefs, elders, and traditional worshippers, Reverend Mackay boldly proclaimed that salvation could only be found in Jesus Christ. His message challenged long-held beliefs, yet it was delivered with humility, conviction, and love. Although many remained skeptical, others listened carefully. God was opening doors that no human effort alone could have opened. The earliest Christian converts began meeting in the house of Pa Malomo for prayer, Bible study, and worship. Their congregation was small, but their faith was strong. From these simple gatherings, the Anglican Church in Osogbo began to take root. As the fellowship continued to grow, Reverend Mackay searched for a permanent site for worship. To many residents, Balogun Agoro represented fear, superstition, and memories of the past. Yet, Reverend Mackay saw something different, a place where the light of Christ will shine brightest. Through faith and determination, the land was secured and construction of the first All Saints Church began. Using local materials and the support of the growing Christian community, the first church building was erected. For the early believers, this building represented far more than bricks and timber. It was a visible testimony that Christ had established his church in Osogbo. The first Anglican congregation continued to grow as more people embraced the gospel. Life for these early Christians was not easy. Some experienced rejection from relatives and neighbors because of their new faith. Even when suitable buildings were unavailable, believers continued meeting in homes and other churches, proving that the church is ultimately God's people other than a physical structure. Then, disaster struck. In 1902, the first church building was destroyed by fire. Many wonder whether the young Christian community would survive such a devastating loss. But the believers refused to surrender. They gathered the broken pieces. They prayed. They rebuilt. Then, tragedy struck again. In 1904, another fire destroyed the second church building. Yet, neither persecution nor disaster could extinguish the faith God had planted in Osogbo. The missionaries understood that preaching the gospel and educating the next generation went hand in hand. In 1905, All Saints School was established to provide Christian education alongside academic learning. The school became an important instrument for evangelism and leadership development, shaping generations of young people within Osogbo and beyond. From this humble beginning, Christianity spread steadily throughout Osogbo. More congregations were planted, more schools were established, more lives were transformed through the gospel of Jesus Christ. The small fellowship that once met in a private home became the foundation of a vibrant Anglican presence across the town. Today, the Cathedral Church of All Saints, Balogun Agoro, stands not merely as a beautiful building, but as a living testimony that God's purposes cannot be destroyed by opposition, persecution, or even fire. The buildings were burned, the faith remained, and because those early pioneers refused to give up, generations continue to worship Christ on that same ground today. Their story reminds us that God's work is never measured by how it begins, but by the lives it transforms. As followers of Christ, we are challenged to remain steadfast in our faith, trusting that God can use our faithfulness today to bless generations yet unborn. Thank you for joining us on Monday Church History. If this story has inspired you, kindly like, subscribe, and share with others. God bless you. See you next Monday.